Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with another review of these absolutely epic plush figures from Wild Republic. I did review 4 of them fairly recently. I now have the final 3 that I've recently acquired to review for you guys. I don't have them obviously all up here right now, but we're going to just look at them one by one, and we'll start with this one, which might be my favorite overall from Wild Republic. This is very clearly the Spinosaurus, and look at how cool this thing looks. It has such a really nice looking appearance to it and color scheme. It looks very natural, and I've said many times in my reviews of different Spinosaurus figures, I always really like greens on Spinosaurus. I just feel like it always looks so good, so natural, and they've done an excellent job with their version of the Spinosaurus here, and again, the colors chosen and the way they're applied. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the camera in here and briefly readjust it. And of course, fetch our Spinosaurus, which is absolutely going to wreak havoc because it is such a strong green. My camera has, weird issues with greens and reds. I don't know why. But you can see when it comes to the head, we've got the head looking pretty nice of our Spinosaurus. We do have glass eyes on the figure, which is pretty cool. We're just going to actually turn it. We'll take a look at the head from over here. Just feel like it would be a little easier to see it because the tail is so long and awkward, bending the other way. So you can get a nice look and feel for the head from this side. We can see the teeth on the inside of the mouth. We've also got a tongue sticking up in there, kind of like a dark reddish brown tone of color for the inside of the mouth. And then of course the teeth are a white. We've got quite a few variations of color here in the face with some sort of off whites. You've got really light greens. You've got darker greens that kind of have like black sort of outlining the scales in that area. You've also got like some yellowish and orangish browns and stuff over here. Lots of color applied to these figures as we've seen through the entire line up until this point. As you lead back into the neck, you can see all of the scales again, really nicely highlighted when it comes to the way that the dinosaur is created and colored. We've also got all sorts of variations of greens and everything throughout, as well as some beautiful blues that actually look really subtle and show up again looking really nice. As we continue to move back into the body, we see more of the very cool different shades of greens and the really nice patterns. You've got lighter coloration here in the stomach. It is super highly detailed, as you can see. Really impressive when it comes to the fine detail. And moving up into the sail of our Spinosaurus, we've got tons of color in that area as well. They've spared no expense when it comes to the color of this Spinosaurus. You've got all sorts of variations of reds, oranges, yellows, greens, blacks. Man, there's just so much color up there, and obviously they've done a great job of really highlighting the sail, of course, making that area quite flashy, like you would expect for a Spinosaurus. As you move down into the arm, you can see like a scoot-like appearance to the scales moving down the front of the arm. You've also got 3 fingers, and as you lead down, you can see the fingernails have been given a black coloration. They look pretty good, and of course, since it is a plush figure, it's very flexible, very movable overall. As you move back into the leg, you can see again more of the really cool patterning with the darker and lighter greens, some more of the light sort of off-whites popping up. You've got some more of the yellowish browns and stuff as well. Super cool color scheme for this. I may actually try to borrow this color scheme for a Spinosaurus model that I'll paint at some point because it just looks so good. You can even see more of those browns down here, and you do have a lighter tone on the underside, but within the lighter tone you can see that they've kind of outlined the scales. There we go, camera focus. Outline the scales with what appears to be like a slight brownish tone. So even the underside, where it's nice and light, still features all of the detail you see through the rest of the figure. As you lead down, you can see a little bit less patterning as you lead into like the ankle area and down into the feet, but you have a really quite vibrant green moving along the scoots on the front of the shin moving down into the toes. We again have the darker tone for the nails. No dew claws or anything, but I still think it looks really cool. And then as we move out into the tail, you can see more of that patterning. You've got a really long tail for the Spinosaurus, and then the tail ends with the darker variation of green overtaking it, but we still see all of the scales and everything shown off really nicely throughout the tail of the Spino. And then, of course, you also have the tag out here, which does tell you that this is part of the artist collection. There we go. For the Wild Republic line. And then you've got some information here on the inside of the tag. But overall, that is an absolutely epic Spinosaurus. It really is. When it comes to a plush version, I would be very impressed if you could find a better looking version than that. The next one is this. We have the Stegosaurus. So we'll just get a nice wide shot to kind of give you a feel for it. Of course, being plush, some of the plates are going to fall down. But you can see, again, it is a super cool looking Stegosaurus. Definitely one of the coolest when it comes to a plush version that you will see anywhere. Again, we've got one of the Thagomisers kind of sagging. But it still looks really, really neat. So again, readjust the camera here just for a moment so we can get a closer look. This one should not wreak havoc with my camera the way the other one was. You can see, again, tons of coloration, and I really like the orangish tones that we have in the face of this Stegosaurus. Wild Republic does such a great job with the material they use and the way that they create these of giving the colors such an impressive, vibrant appearance. No matter which one of the dinosaurs you look at, I feel like the colors just shine so nicely on all of them. And just like with the others, again, you can see really nice, really subtle scale detail throughout the course of the figure. You've got the beak there on the front of the snout. We can even see the nostrils highlighted. We have some darker tones, like some darker browns as you move up here into the top of the head. A little bit of a darker brown there around the eye. Some yellows and stuff popping up here and there. We do have a nice glass eye yet again. As we move back into the neck, you see all sorts of variation of color. Like, honestly, I don't even know if I could pinpoint each and every tone of color we see. There is just so much of it. You have everything from browns to greens to purples and oranges and reds and yellows. Like, there's just so much color back here as you move into the body. I really like these green spots that follow along the back of the dinosaur because they're kind of left in the really dark browns, so they just jump out at you so nicely. But obviously we can see all of the scale detail and everything is very impressively highlighted throughout the course of this figure as well. And then when you lead up into the plates as well have a nice flashiness to them with some dark browns and then some reds, yellows, and oranges moving up through. We also have some dark browns as you lead up toward the tips of the plates, and I like the fact that they've really highlighted the fine detail of the plates as well in a really subtle way where you can kind of make out like the cracks and crevices, but it's not super obvious. Again, we have these plates, and maybe this is, move the camera up here. Again, we have these plates, and maybe it's a matter of the plates are like I remember an older animated Stegosaurus. I forget where I had seen it. Maybe it was one of the old Nova specials, but the Stegosaurus kind of left its plates come down here like this as a sort of like defensive display. Maybe that's sort of what we have going on with this Stegosaurus, and that's why our plates are sagging. I don't know. But again, it also may just be because I left some of the other dinosaurs laying on top of it in the box. But you can see moving back, again, the legs actually lighten as you move down, and again, they continue to have all of the scales shining quite nicely. We can see the toes as we lead down, as well as the nails. They've even added variation of color to the nails themselves. We can obviously see like some scoots moving over the toes as you lead back here into the rear leg. Same deal, again, nice big bulky thigh for the Stegosaurus like you would expect to see. Again, you've got all the different variations of purples and stuff in here and the browns and like oranges and everything, and I love all of these little green dots and stuff as you move up higher into the Stegosaurus. But as you move down, again, you lead down into the feet. Same style, same look as what we had seen for the feet on the front of the Stegosaurus, and then we lead out into the tail, and you've got all of those really cool green spots, all of the scales really nicely showing off in the tail of the Stegosaurus, as well as tons of variation of color moving through. For the Thagomisers, you can see they've even added, again, like some fine detail to those to sort of show off the cracks and crevices. You've got like a yellowish tone leading up again, turning into like an off-white, and then a dark gray for the tips, which looks super cool. Honestly, all of these figures have such impressive color schemes. It's really hard for me to not want to use each and every one of them on models that I paint. And I may, who knows where I'll get my inspiration from. But you can see again, this side looks pretty much as it did on the first side. Absolutely gorgeous from both sides. Again, a stellar plush Stegosaurus. And then maybe the most surprising figure overall for the Wild Republic plush figures, Yes, we've got ourselves a Yutyrannus. How shocking is that? I remember when I had seen this one, I think on Amazon, I was like, wait a minute, a plush Yutyrannus? That is epic. And as we can see, let me go ahead and push that leg over so I can just stand it up here for a minute to kind of pan out so you guys can get a good feel for what the figure looks like. You can see it's a very feathered version of a Yutyrannus like you would expect to see. And we'll go ahead and bring it back in a little bit closer now. And look at the colors on this. First of all, when you start up in the face, you have so many beautiful blues that just look really nice. You've got darker and lighter shades of blues. Again, the scales pop so nicely as you move through the head of our Yutyrannus. I love these darker blues that kind of stripe down. And then you've got the really nice reds up and over the top of the head and around the eye. Another color scheme that I really wouldn't mind borrowing. You've got all sorts of variation of color. The red kind of running down the center of the top of the head. You've also got lighter blues that kind of transition to darker blues as you lead along the lower jaw, and then a black as you lead out there toward the tip of the lower jaw. We can see the tongue. I had to reposition it. It was kind of squished over there, but the tongue of our Yutyrannus. We've also got the teeth and then a dark kind of like reddish brown tone of color for the inside of the mouth. As we move back here, also we do have glass eyes again, which is a trademark, I think, of these figures at this point. But as we move back, we've got a really nice display of super soft feathers here right at the back of the head leading into the neck, basically hiding the neck. They are given a mixture of grays and blacks in that area. And then as we move back a little bit further, we pick up some more impressive feathering, and look at the super cool colors on this. It's like a really subtle greenish tone for the feathers, but kind of like highlighted with a really nice sort of a white as you move along toward the ends. It is super impressive looking in person. You can really see how it looks, and again, how super soft the feathers are. It is incredibly soft overall. But as you move down into the arms, I think you can really see the greenish color right here. But we have a darker tone as you move into the hands. You can see kind of like the scoots, but still having the greenish colors. And then, of course, the nails are given a darker coloration. We do have a lighter gray for the underside, again still fully feathered, which looks really nice. We again have the feather detail kind of decreasing as you lead down into the legs. You've got the scoots moving down the legs, down the front of the shin basically into the feet, and we've got the toes again with all of the darker tones of color, which I think plays off of the lighter colors of the body quite nicely. We have actually 3 different tones of color leading out into the nails on the feet. You have a black, then a brown, and then a gray, so just adding extra variation of color in that area. Again, Wild Republic really does a great job of giving these guys such a realistic look, while of course giving you the very cool plush look and feel like you would love if you were a plush collector. And obviously we can see all of the scales moving along the back of the leg and everything. And then as we move up, we can see we basically have the tail finishing off in the same style as these feathers that we see at the bottom of the neck, or actually at the bottom of the head leading into the neck. We have that same type of look to the feathers, kind of scruffy feathering as you lead out into the tail of the Yutyrannus, with the greenish feathers kind of running along the upper side of the dinosaur. And of course we have the lighter colors here for the underside of the dinosaur. But how cool is that? Like, I was so shocked to see a Yutyrannus in the line, but I'm so happy to have it here. Now, I don't feel like we really need to do size comparisons or anything like that, because obviously they're all of a similar size, and we've already done that with the first round of reviews for these Wild Republic plush figures. So I would think we've got a pretty good idea as far as how these would size up next to each other. Again, all pretty much the same size overall. So there's no sort of scale involved or anything like that with the figures. Like, they don't scale correctly to each other. They're just big, wonderful, fluffy plush dinosaurs. So without a doubt, Wild Republic is responsible for some of the best plush dinosaurs I have ever seen. Their artist collection is just filled with incredible plush figures, and of course not just dinosaurs. We did see a pterosaur in the first review as well, but I think they do such a great job on bringing these to life. They really do, not only bringing them to life, but giving them a very highly detailed look. Again, when it comes to plush figures like this, you don't usually expect them to look so highly detailed, but Wild Republic obviously wants their plush dinosaurs to have the look and feel of plush figures, but also having the look and feel of a realistic living dinosaur. And I feel like it's the perfect mixture of both with all of these. Not to mention, talk about awesome species choices. Even right here, we've got a Spinosaurus, a Stegosaurus, and a Yutyrannus. Like, never in a million years did I expect to one day own a plush Yutyrannus, or even a plush Spinosaurus, honestly, because you don't see that too often either. Stegosaurus, okay, I could see that one being fairly common, but some of these others are definitely really exciting species in their line. But again, they are absolutely fantastic. They're big, they're fluffy, they are very soft, and extremely impressive in every aspect. So if you are interested in grabbing any of these and adding them to your collection, I will include links in the description to where you can purchase each and every one of them from the Wild Republic shop on Amazon.com. So make sure you check those links. Definitely pick these up, and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.